welcome back once again to the 26th episode of the Sunday Night Life. And as you know, today I will continue reading from my Christian book, Delight. But first, before I start reading from this book, I would like to thank everyone for your feedback, for your encouragement, and also for letting me know about the way that these books are reaching your heart. So let me continue reading from this book, and I will continue from chapter 3 today. Is your life guided by delight? Life. What is life all about? How do people experience life in today's world? What is the meaning of life for society today? Is light present in people's lives today? Or are people allowing the power of darkness to take over their life? These questions come up in the minds of many of us. Unfortunately, if one does not look for the right source for an answer, one might end up disillusioned, not knowing how to cope with life's problems, and not truly understanding what life is all about. Therefore, it is important for such a person to seek the answers from the source of life. Life is all about being either in darkness or in the light. There are only two ways of living, either by molding one's life to the love of God or not. The way a person lives his life events depends on his choice, whether to allow darkness or light to take control of his situations. A person's life is lived in fullness depending upon one's decisions to be guided by the light. We all know that every person in the world goes through different moments in life. These difficulties, or so-called burdens of life, can take the form of sickness, of being unemployed, of family arguments, the death of a family member, divorce, disabilities, suffering, hatred, being exploited, and many such other examples. What I have observed through life is that different people who could be experiencing the same burdens of life can react differently to such similar situations, such as when facing a particular sickness. I have observed people who, faced with sickness, react angrily against God and blame God for their suffering. These same people carry the burden of their sickness by becoming bitter towards God. Their attitude does not allow them to be in peace with themselves and with their neighbors, as they would be living in despair. On the other hand, I have also observed other people who, when faced with the same kind of sickness, are at peace with themselves and with the people they meet during each day. These people have accepted their sickness peacefully, knowing that God is with them, comforting them, loving them, and giving them the necessary grace and peace in every moment of their lives. The secret of these people is that they trust in Jesus and know that through the cross He carries the burdens of their life, their sickness. The fullness of life for these people is found in Jesus. What a difference. And what about you? What do you do when you are faced with a burden in your life? Do you allow Jesus to carry your burdens on His cross? This is what delight is all about, accepting God in one's life, living in the grace of God, living in His peace and being comforted by Him. Do you live your life guided by His light? Everybody asks different questions about their life. We all ask ourselves if we are living a fulfilled life. However, the meaning of life is not the same for all. Different cultures, different religions will have a bearing on people's concept of what the real meaning of life is all about. Some people do not want to know the truth or are afraid of knowing the truth regarding these questions. However, the question that only a few people ask is, am I living? my life in God's light? The answer to this question lies only in the depth of each person's heart. It is only recognized by the light himself, who is our loving Father. Every person knows if he is living in the light or not. If you love your neighbor and give your life to help your neighbor, to reach out to their needs, to be one with that person, this is an indication that you are living in the light. On the other hand, if you do not carry out concrete acts of love with your neighbor, if you are not merciful to them, you do not appreciate other people, and you are not interested in the other people's needs, if you do not help that person overcome the burdens of life, chances are that you are living in darkness. Light is not present in your life. Darkness keeps you living away from God, away from His tender love. If one examines his life sincerely, one will understand whether he is truly living in the light. The result of living in the light is seen by the eagerness of the person to know more about Christ, to be more like Christ, and to bring Christ to others. When one is a compassionate, loving his neighbor in a concrete way, forgiving the other for any bad deed, comforting, these acts of love become a means of expressing the light to the other person. This can only come about if one lives the gospel faithfully. The person who truly lives through the light is ready to be reconciled with anyone, will love his neighbor continuously, and feels totally dependent upon God to be a merciful person. Living in the light is entrusting your life in the hands of God. I hope that you found this reading interesting and that you make an extra effort to live in the light. Before I leave, I would like to announce that my Christian podcasts are now also available on iTunes stores. So my Christian podcasts, which I upload nearly every week, are found also on iTunes stores. So feel free to subscribe to my podcast so that you will immediately know that I have uploaded another new Christian podcast for you to listen and to share with your friends and relatives. Until we meet again, take care, be safe, continue to love your neighbor. Amen.